Hello grade 12s. I'm going to talk to you about how to find the present day value of an annuity. So, present day value of an annuity. And an annuity is just a fixed series of payments over time. Let me start with an example. Say you are going to take a loan for 1,000 Rand, for whatever purpose. And you've agreed that you are going to pay back the loan in 3 equal installments. Now, this kind of fits the bill of an annuity because you're going to make a series of equal payments over time. Now, if you imagine the timeline of what this looks like, we're going to say that those payments are going to be made yearly. So you have the situation, and here's your 1,000 Rand, and what's going to happen is you're going to make a payment at the end of year 1, at the end of year 2, and at the end of year 3. Now, what we want to happen is, obviously, when you make the 3 payments, if you had to add them up, they'll add up to more than 1,000 Rand, but that's because of interest. Now, what we want to know is, how much money do we have to pay each time if it's the same, such that the present day value of those 3 payments is the same as the 1,000 Rand that you borrowed in the first place. And sort of the restricting factor is that these payments have to be the same each time. So if I put an X here, an X here, and an X here, all these 3, when they're present valued, have to be the same as the original, well, when I add them all up together, they have to be equivalent to the 1,000 Rand that you borrowed. Now, how do we go about doing that? Well, we need to know what the interest rate applicable is, and we also need to know how often it's compounded, how often is the interest incorporated. So, to make life a bit easier, we're going to use 10% per annum as the nominal interest rate, and how often is it compounded? We're going to say yearly in this example. And we're going to use a formula that we've used before, the present value formula. The present value formula says it's equal to the future value 1 plus I to the minus n. Now all that is really doing is, this formula is taking it back however many steps it needs to take the interest out. So let's see how this applies in this case. So we know that the 1,000 Rand has to be equivalent to the present value of these 3 payments, and those 3 payments have to be the same amount. So let's start with the very first one. So the very first one is 1 year from the present time, and it has to go back in time one amount. If I use this formula, then I know the future value is X, I know the interest rate is 10% per annum, and it's compounded yearly, and so to go back, the present value of that X amount of money is just going to be applying that formula. Now what about the next amount? What about the amount you pay at the end of year 2? Well, that has to go back in time 2 years. Oh, the one important thing, can you see what I've left out? I've left out a negative, and that's really important. So, the second amount, I'm simply going to go 1 plus the interest rate, and it has to go back in time 2 periods. I'm running out of space here, so I'm going to do this below. The last amount has to go back in time 3 years to get to the present value. So we're going to go like that. How do I find what X is? Well, these are all numbers, and X's are just unknowns. So if I can figure out how much the amount of money is for these things, or how much these values are over here, then I could simply add them all together to see how much X is, and then we could solve for X by moving everything to the other side of the equation. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm getting all the blue numbers and I'm adding them together. So in my calculator, it gives me a fraction. You could also get a decimal, but essentially you're going to get 3310 over 1331. And on this side we still have the 1,000 like before. So now to find what X is, all I'm going to do is I'm going to move this to the other side and I'm going to divide by it. It does look like a lot of divisions here. But what I should get is 402,114,8036. Okay, so I'm not rounding at this stage. But essentially the X value that I was looking for in the beginning is 402 Rand, and if I had to round off it would be it would be 11 cents. So in order to pay off my original 1,000 Rand, I need to make 3 payments of 402 Rand and 11 cents, each a year apart for 3 years, and then the present day value of those payments is going to be equivalent to 1,000 Rand. Even though if you add those 3 payments up, they add up to more than 1,000, the equivalent in today's value would be 1,000 Rand. And we know that because we've used the present value formula on each one. Now we're going to use this idea to derive a formula to apply this principle in a general way, so that we know for any type of annuity, if we have to present value an annuity, we can do it using a formula. And this is very much applicable when we deal with things like loans. Okay.